Was married on October the 27th to his wife Christine. Took some time off. This is the longest layoff of his career. Hasn't fought in 4 months and 10 days. Julian Letterlough coming off a November 17th knockout win against Max Heyman. Letterlough, 31 years of age, spent 7 years in prison from the School of Hard Knocks. Let's take a look at both men fighting in tonight's main event. Julio Gonzalez was born in Mexico, now fighting out of California, weighed in at 175 pounds, a professional record of 25-0 with 16 knockouts, ranked number 9 by the WBA, represented Mexico in the 1996 Olympic Games, lost to Vasily Yurov in his first bout. 8 straight knockout wins for Gonzalez. Julian Letterlough is known as Mr. KO. He is 31 years of age, 174 pounds, from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, ranked number 13 by the IBF in the light heavyweight division. 15-0-1 with 15 knockouts. He's never been past 8 rounds in his career. Well, actually, one time he has, when he went the 10-round draw with Sami Ahmad here on Friday Night Fights. And he goes down a lot. He was dropped by Max Heyman, then finished that fight off with a win. In his last fight was dropped by Demetrius Jenkins in the 2nd and 3rd rounds, but came back to win. He's got a devastating left hook. Unified rules will be used. Bernie Profato, the referee for tonight's 12-round main event. They are as follows. No 3 knockdown rule, no standing 8 count. Only the referee can stop it. Accidental fouls, they'll go to the scorecards after 4 rounds are complete.
Ready to clock.
Julian Letterlough, no amateur experience, a lot of street fights, was nicknamed Tyson for his style. Spent 7 years in a Pittsburgh state prison. Learned how to box and has really been an entertaining guy. Gonzalez has been down once, Teddy, in his professional career. And that came in his 8th pro bout against Nathaniel Miles. He was knocked down in the 4th round of that bout. He won a 6-round decision. He won it, and a right hand by Gonzalez knocks down Letterlough.
Well, Gonzalez got good extension on that right hand, and this distance, Gonzalez is going to be doing good.
Okay.
If it's in close, then Letterlough will do better.
Well, you heard Letterlough when we talked to him about getting knocked down and getting back up. He says that in the Jenkins fight, when he was dropped in the 2nd and 3rd rounds, when he kept getting back up, that broke the spirit of Jenkins. He said the same thing happened in his fight against Max Heyman. He was being shut out in that fight.
Watch your heads in there.
And normally when a guy goes down and he got wobbled again from a left hand, you say to yourself, oh boy, he's in a lot of trouble. With Letterlough, you just never know.
Gonzalez still better pay attention to his P's and Q's. Because when you drop a guy, and you know you're the taller guy, you were supposed to fight on the outside, you drop and say, I don't have to fight on the outside. Let me just go after him. Funny things can happen all of a sudden when you start fighting the other guy's fight, getting him too close. And as you said, Letterlough's used to coming off the floor.
Gonzalez said he'd feel out Letterlough in the 1st round. He knows about Letterlough's power. In fact, Gonzalez thought this fight would go 12 rounds.
Sometimes the worst thing that can happen, I'm not saying it's bad when you score a knockdown, but sometimes the worst thing that can happen is you score a knockdown early in a fight that you thought was going to be real tough. And all of a sudden, even without realizing it, mentally you let up a little bit, you let your strategy go a little bit, you say, hey, you know, my trainer said I have to stay outside. I just dropped this guy 20 seconds into the fight. I can go inside, and you can make mistakes.
Letterlough letting that right hand go. Letterlough dropped early in this 1st round, got wobbled from a left hand a few moments earlier.
There's no doubt who's the cruder guy, who's more raw. Letterlough is much more raw. Talent-wise, technique-wise, did not have an amateur background. Started very late. He's 31 years old now.
You know, I asked Letterlough about, is he worried about referees? Some guys are very quick to stop fights. He says he doesn't really worry about it. It's almost like part of his game. He's got to go down a couple times.
Gonzalez is the much more polished man, no doubt about it. And even though he's the taller man, he can fight inside too. He's good at that. I think he should stay on the outside. Because fighting inside, even if he can win that way, it gives Letterlough the only chance he has.
10.
Well, a dominant 1st round for Julio Gonzalez, dropping Letterlough early in the round and hurting him on another occasion.
You just keep moving that hand, Jay. Make the quick move your shots off. Step around real easy
Letterlough
and
trying to
bang it.
regroup after getting dropped in round number 1. Teddy, it came early.
Oh yeah, it's always about fundamentals, and as we said, fundamentally, Gonzalez is a little bit better. You don't want to step back with your left hand down in front of your man, and that's exactly what Letterlough did, and he got caught a right hand.
Corners.
And then he got hurt with a left hook to the head about 30 seconds later. But if there is anybody that can regroup, it's Julian Letterlough.
He's going to pound.
His 4 sons, Ronaldo, Julian, D'Angelo, and Jason, watching Dad perform tonight. Take a look at the numbers in round 1. Obviously dominant. 28 power shots landed by Gonzalez. Of course, he scored the knockdown and hurt Letterlough again.
Again, Gonzalez will have to fight the temptation after that early knockdown to go inside. He still should be on the outside. I don't care how well he does on the inside. He's better off on the outside. He's going to give Letterlough a chance to land something, the shorter man. And the puncher, Letterlough does have that eraser in his gloves that can pull him from behind with that power.
Always come back with another one.
Right now, Gonzalez not using his height. Even though he's getting the better of it, I said it early, he can fight inside outside. But why fight inside if that's the only thing your opponent can do? Letterloh's happy. Right now that Gonzalez is close to him.
Both guys say they go into each fight expecting a war. And round number 2 starting out just that way. Tell you what, Gonzalez has landed some pretty good body shots there.
Yeah, he's got a less experienced guy in front of him. He's trying to take some of the desire. He's trying to mentally break down, not just physically, but also mentally break down Letterlough. Take away some of that power of Letterlough. So Letterlough later in the fight won't be so dangerous, Bob. He knows Letterloh's track record, and he can pull fights out of the fire.
In that fight against Jenkins here on Friday Night Fights back in July in New Hampshire, he was down in all 3 judges' scorecards. Through 6.5 rounds, and he scored the knockout win.
As we said, technically the more polished guy, no doubt about it, Gonzalez. But when he gets in close, he evens things up a little bit. Because Letterlough, with the less experience now, when he's in close,
Good right hand by Gonzalez.
can land.
You saw the numbers here in the round. Big numbers for Gonzalez. He might be playing right into Letterloh's hands. Letterlough can land that clean shot.
Look, Gonzalez is winning this fight, no doubt about it. But I'm going to tell you again, he's fighting the wrong fight. He shouldn't be in close. And I'm sure the corner can't be happy. They're happy that he's ahead, but he's too close to Letterlough, the shorter man.
Letterlough did erase Jenkins and Heyman with that left hook. Right now, Gonzalez is dominating this fight with Julian Letterlough through 2 rounds. According to CompuBox, Julio Gonzalez through the first 2 rounds has landed 80 power shots in this fight. He dropped Julian Letterlough in the first round, hurt him in the first round, and pounded him in the second round. Round 3 underway. This is a 12-rounder.
Keep that motion going. I need motion.
Take a look at the numbers in round 2. 52 of the 58 landed by Gonzalez were power shots. But Teddy, as you said, Gonzalez fighting inside, and although he's had the better of it through 2 rounds, it's still a bad place for him to be.
He should be on the outside using that jab, making Letterlough take the chances, as we say all the time. Pay for real estate. Pay for every inch to get closer.
There he goes! Pound punch!
Exactly what we're talking about. Fight the wrong fight.
5, 6.
So each guy has gone down once. Second time in Gonzalez's career he's been down. Right hand by Letterlough.
Look how Letterlough is instinctually is pretty good. He got caught there a little bit too. That might have been a knockdown. The referee wasn't sure whether or not to step in because Letterlough got up so quick. And watch the instincts of Letterlough.
Oh, stop.
Gonzalez is still too close. That's why he was on the floor to begin with. He allowed the shorter Letterlough, probably the harder punching Letterlough, to get where he needed to be.
And Gonzalez walks into a shot there as he tries to fire back. All about distance, right, Teddy?
Yes, it is. And it's about controlling yourself, fighting the right fight, controlling your emotions. As I said earlier, Gonzalez scored the knockdown. He might have thought, hey, I don't have to listen. I don't have to be on the outside. I can win this fight on the inside. You're wrong. You might win it, but you're taking a lot more chances. You're giving your opponent a chance to win the fight. You're not supposed to do that if you don't have to do that.
But Teddy,
Gonzalez don't have to do that.
Isn't it just his instinct, though? I mean, this is the way he fights. Even though he's taller, he fights like this.
That instinct has to be controlled. That pride has to be controlled. The emotions must be controlled. That Mexican pride of Gonzalez, which is so great. And we've seen so many great Mexican fighters. But you have to control that. And you have to fight a smart fight. It's called the sweet science. Being tough is only part of it. We've seen many great Mexican fighters. Many great ones. And also box on the outside when they're supposed to do it.
In round one, Letterlough went down. Here in round three, it's Gonzalez who hit the canvas. Good shot to the body by Gonzalez.
This is going to be a good one. On the right-hand corner, where earlier Gonzalez put Letterlough on the floor with the right hand. Well, Letterlough returns the favor. Left hand down of Gonzalez. It always comes down to fundamentals. Right hand was able to crash home for Letterlough. Gonzalez was too close, Bob.
Fourth round underway. Take a look at the punch numbers through 3 rounds, and decidedly in favor of Gonzalez, although Letterlough had a very good round number 3.
He said earlier, Letterlough's a little less polished, didn't have the amateur background, started late in boxing, but he makes up for that lack of technique, lack of polish with plenty of heart and power in both gloves. But he needs help. He needs his opponent to fight an inside fight. Allow him to be in position for those talents. Gonzalez is helping him a little bit right now.
Stop! Step back. Wait and listen, gentlemen. Wait and listen.
You can take away technique. You can even the playing field of experience a little bit by pressure and by being close to your man. When Letterlough, the less experienced guy, is close to Gonzalez, he doesn't allow Gonzalez to use his experience so much. It becomes a fight of power, a fight of will. Letterlough can do pretty good in that kind of fight.
Letterlough landed a nice combination inside. Right hand over the top. Gonzalez to the right of his own.
Letterlough is hurting Gonzalez. Plenty of heart, both of these guys. That's why we knew this fight would be a great fight. There's a lot of cheering going on. If everybody's going crazy and happy, then you know Letterlough's getting the kind of fight you want. Don't get me wrong, we love it. But if it's a little quieter in here, then Gonzalez is doing what he should do, Bob. Being on the outside.
Can they keep this up for 12 rounds?
Watch your heads.
Neither one grabbed a lot inside.
Watch your heads.
And as I say that, Gonzalez looked to grab.
Free, use them, they're free.
But then they let go because this is where they both do effective work. Although Letterlough probably is the better man on the inside.
Even though Letterlough is much more, much cleaner when it comes to experience and technique, he has. I was starting to mess with the last time. He has good instincts. Watch how he'll punch at the right time. He's looking for the right moment to throw something to catch Gonzalez. Looking for Gonzalez to leave himself open.
Work him in a row. Work him in a row. All right, stop before we step back. Head, we got head.
You don't need to say a lot about this. These two guys are just getting it done.